Oh.
Hello everyone, I'm Matthew from Brighter Blooms and I'm sat here amongst the tulips on our nursery in Preston, Lancashire. And that's going to be the main focus of our live tour today. We're going to look around the tulips that we've put out on display. So we were actually open last weekend for an open garden, focusing and featuring all the tulips that we've grown for these displays. And we thought it'd be really nice to also let those followers of the virtual flower show, Dibley's virtual flower show, to have a look around our tulips. So we're going to get up in a minute. We're going to have a right round the gardens that we've created to host the tulips in. But just while we're sat here, we'll have a quick look at a couple of the varieties that are around us. So these are one of my favourites, actually, and you probably hear me say that a couple of times go around. But this is a tulip called Daydream. It starts off a very yellow colour and actually ages through, so it's getting a little bit older here to this orange sort of colour. Really fantastic, tall Darwin hybrid. We go across the pink one, which we're going to come to in a little bit, and the paler pink, I guess, with the yellow base. This is a variety called Tom Goose. Again, really wonderful, stunning sort of variety. I'm going to swing right round now to a short variety at the front called Armour. Now that's actually got a frilly edge to it. Make that out in the photo, in the picture, sorry. And actually it's worth mentioning, we did film earlier on and we noticed that some of the colours didn't always kind of come true on the video like we are seeing them here. So I apologise for that. And while we're on apologies, I'll also mention that there might be a bit of noise every now and again. We are live and there is a road near us. So if it does get a bit noisy, that is why. So let's have a wander across this way. So we established the nursery 10 years ago and have very much built it on the back of secondhand things, borrowing, begging, and recycling. And we've done that with quite a few elements of the displays. And here we have some upcycled pallets, and we've created some furniture out of them. And they've actually been going now for about 3 years, so they have lasted pretty well. And we've used these in the display here. So got a couple of nice varieties here as well. This is one of the lily flowered range of tulips. So they have pointy petals traditionally, and this is called Pretty Love. Real vivid pink. Now, whether it looks quite as vivid in the video, you'll have to let us know, but actually it really is singing sort of pink there. Up on the top here, we did glimpses around the deck before. Variety called Tulip Van Eyck, another one of the Darwin hybrids. Now, I mentioned the Darwin hybrids here, and I'll mention them again later on. But actually, the Darwin hybrids are a fantastic range of tulips. They're very, very good at coming back year on year. And we have a bed, which we're not actually going to view while we walk around, but we have a bed that's been planted up for about 3 or 4 years now with Darwin hybrids. And they just come back and flower steadily every year. They're fantastic range of tulips, one to look out for. So Ballard, another lily flower, so you can see the pointy petal there. Two-tone one, purple with a white edge to it. Really nice variety. So from here, we're going to wander across towards our allotment area, which then moves into the garden itself. When we started on the nursery, this area was so covered in brambles that you couldn't walk across it. So it has very much been a labour of love to get it to what it is today. And kind of the idea of these areas is we will do more open days as we sort of get further down the line. And it's a space that we can use for those open days. and you'll be able to see the allotment behind me very soon as we approach this set of tulips we've got set up here. So almost trying to create a Coconut style block planting with the tulips. We actually plant them in crates or containers or pots so that we can manipulate things a little bit. So this year we've had a very cold winter, a slow start to the spring. We've had some nasty frosts over the last sort of couple of weeks, really. But we've still got some of the late flowering varieties out in flower today. And that's because by growing them in the containers, we can actually bring them into the greenhouses and manipulate that slightly so that we can have a broad range of different flowering times out at the same time. And then when we label them, we write on the label the actual flowering time they should be out, so that the customers, when they're wandering around, know what's happening there, whether it's forced or not, really. So just focusing on a couple of varieties there, particularly the one we're on at the moment. I particularly like its name, Hot Pants, which is a bit of a mad name for a tulip, really. But next to this variety called Merlot, which again sums this up very nicely, they work really well. And this is another one of those lily flowered varieties, and the two colours combine very nicely. So in the background, before we focus in on this bed, you'll have probably just caught a glimpse of the allotment. Cold spring, so we actually haven't planted that much yet. We were still getting some nasty frost last week, and but it's ready to go. So we've got bits of onions and pieces in like that. But this next couple of weeks, we will start doing a bit more planting. What we have got growing though, and this is something you can grow right through the winter time, particularly if you've got heated greenhouses, but getting them going early in cool greenhouses is perfectly possible, is a range of baby leaf salad leaves. And if you've seen us at some of the shows like Shrewsbury Flower Show, Southport Flower Show, or Harrogate Flower Show, you'll have also seen us with a display of these cut and come again baby leaf container growing salads. Various varieties here, baby leaf kales, baby leaf lettuces, red salad bowl, green salad bowl, mizunas, and these are all so easy to grow in containers. And we create a display of these. We created a display of these last week for the Tulip Open weekend, and we would do that at Harrogate. And in fact, we will do that at Harrogate when we have the show later in May time. We just thought we'd show you those because we had them here, and you can see another element of Brighter Blooms. I say Brighter Blooms, and that's who we are, and we're known for the tulip side of things. The veg side of things, we have created a new website for called Grow Fruit and Veg by Brighter Blooms, and that's www.growvegendfruit.co.uk, which in response to the sort of like mass clamour for grow your own last year, and it's been leading up to that for many years, we thought we'd split that off into a separate website to make it easier for everyone. So all those seeds sort of available through that website. Another little bit of a display. Now, a lot of the props that you'll see as we go through this area, we've used at the various flower shows. So this bike has been at both Harrogate and Cardiff Flower Show with the tulips. We displayed at Cardiff Flower Show for about 5 years with tulips. Harrogate, we've been displaying there for about 8 or 9 years, I think now. I love this colour combination. So here we have a variety called Ronaldo, which is a real deep burgundy purple sort of colour, next to this vivid orange colour called Ballerina. And together they work fantastically well. They're such a good colour combination. So from here, on the last year of the Dutch bite, real Dutch bite, we imported and brought it in from Holland. It was bright orange as well, very Dutch colours as well. So from here, we will wander towards the garden area, but we're going to pass the fruit cage on the way. So we growing growing fruit is a well worthwhile thing to do, and we have a lot of birds here. So unless we protect it, which we fill with this large fruit cage, we lose it all to the birds. Plenty of them anyway, so we just save a bit for ourselves with the fruit cage. And we've got all sorts in there: blueberries, red currants, black currants, raspberries, all growing in there, and some more unusual things is like goji berries as well in there. And this is a variety called Landbandermark. That actually ages white, so you saw it there. It was red with a yellow edge. As it ages, it gets a white edge. So coming through into the garden proper now, and again, this has been developed massively over the last sort of 6 or 7 years. It was fairly derelict here when we started, and we wanted, or we had this idea, the concept to create displays of tulips so that people could see them in real life, see the colours of them, rather than a catalogue where when you go into print and you take photographs, sometimes the colours change and look different. By having them actually on the ground, effectively a catalogue on the ground, customers could see them en masse in real life, all named up really. So we've got a new bed we just started last year here. This site where we are on the nursery has been used as a market garden for, I don't know, 100 years plus probably. So you can imagine there's every weed going here in the garden. So when we dig new beds and create new beds, we have to leave them fallow for a little bit to keep on top of the weed, and otherwise it takes over. So actually planting tulips in them for the first year is quite convenient, because then we can sort of rip them out and create a proper bed. Just focusing in here, we actually have some of these varieties that have nearly finished in the crates because they've been early, but here they are out. And that's Flaming Flag, the one with the deep purple flames through it, and a really nice variety. Not a mix, this is actually all one variety called Flaming Purisma. Nice big flowers on it. Everything's late this year, so quite often Flaming Purisma by now would be finished and not done its thing. But because of how late, I think we're a good 3 weeks behind on the usual sort of flowering season, really. Threw a few smaller bits and pieces in here to fill a bit of space. So we've got Starry, Pushkinia, and some Scillas. They're just coming towards their end really now, but again, late really, I would say. Everything is really late. And that's partially down to the cold winter, but also the recent cold weather, which at the beginning of April is unexpected. And you can see here as we pass this shrub here, the toffee apple tree, how badly damaged it's got by the frosts we had. We had some -5s, -4s, that sort of Easter week or so. So it's very much still an area under development, the garden. We've only sort of started putting some more beds in the last couple of years. So because we had a little bit more time last year without going to the shows, we created this bed as a new bed. The longer herbaceous border in this sort of shady area has been in for a little bit longer, so it has become a little bit more established. This area looks great this time of year. The actual long run of herbaceous border is a true sort of summer flowering herbaceous border, so it's not really come into its full own yet. Give it another month, especially if it's colder weather again. It's probably a little bit late, but we have got a little bit of spring interest as well in there. Terrific variety called Abu Hassan, slightly different sort of form to its petals there, that are not your traditional cup shape, but stunning colours. We can go back over towards one of the other displays, and one of the props again has been down to Cardiff Flower Show and Harrogate, and we'll just have a quick look at some of the other varieties that we've got here. This is a full-on double tulip, very blousy, called Exotic Emperor. I love the way the colours form in it. You've got that green on the edges and then the buttery yellow sort of colour to the actual double flower. Fantastic. Banjaluka, another Darwin hybrid, like the yellow one to the right of it, and it has some amazing colours on it. This flaming yellow on the red itself, with the perfect Darwin hybrid centre to it. Really, really nice. Golden apple dawn, been around for a long, long time now, but still extremely good as a variety. Christmas dream, another nice pinky sort of one. And then similar colour, I guess, to Exotic Emperor, but this is a single Parissima. Foster Ayana type, pretty good at coming back year on year. Skip across that one because it's not at its best. Quebec. You kind of get the idea that we tried to create this catalogue area so that when people are wandering around, they can carry a list around. And we did this at one of the gardens we went to. In fact, we've done it at a few of the gardens. You sort of mark things down that you really like. And that's where this idea came from, to create this actual display area that could be used as a catalogue. Plus, it means we can take lots of photographs and stuff for the website. Doll's Minuet, look at that, we've got a guest appearance there from a bumblebee in the tulip. Doll's Minuet is a viridiflora type, which refers to the green that's up the outside of the actual. Actually, see it has a green sort of marking up the centre there, and all the viridiflora types have this green in them. Sweetheart, usually by now, as well finished. I'd say it's 3 weeks late, and it would usually be done and dusted by now. Nice deep red of Collada. So the herbaceous border at the back here is proper south-facing border, so it gets really hot, and that's why this double one I think is already out, because it's usually a little bit later than this, but because it has been very hot and sunny the last few weeks. We've actually noticed this year, interestingly, that a lot of the varieties have stayed a little bit shorter than they would ordinarily do. And we kind of initially thought, well, maybe it's down to the cold weather. But now we think about it a little bit more. As well as it being cold, it's been very bright and sunny for the last good 2 or 3 weeks. And we suspect that maybe the high light levels we've been getting have kept the tulips a little bit shorter. So here we're just focusing in on a species or a botanical tulip. So they tend to be shorter. They're not always short, but they have a much more delicate flower to them. This is called Little Beauty, this particular botanical one. They like it quite free draining. So the soil here is quite free draining. They do very well in that. And this is the aptly named Blue Parrot, which actually doesn't come out very blue in colour, more of a lilac-y colour. But I think combined with the creme upstar beside it, they kind of highlight each other quite nicely, really. Jimmy, I don't know if you can make it out, but this glows, this orange colour, with like a pinky sort of undertone to the outside of it. Whether that comes across. So again, here Toronto is a rockery tulip, some of the Greggii range, and quite often by now, and this is just hanging on, the petals are just starting to go a bit. Quite often by now, they actually have finished, and we don't get to put any rockeries on display. So we've definitely had different stuff on display from usual, really. And having the open weekend last weekend was really nice to kind of see some people. I mean, it wasn't very busy. We've got plenty of space to spread everyone out. It's an all outdoor event because it's a garden. But to actually see some customers in real life was a bit nice after 6 months of not. Last year we decided to try a bit of a home experiment, and we took 2 different varieties and we got some different bulb sizes for each of those varieties. Now, everyone will sort of say how a bigger bulb will give you a bigger flower, and that's what we've always understood. We've taken 9 10s, 10 11s, and 12 centimetre plus bulb sizes, and planted them each in individual pots. And these are the two different varieties which we're running around now. Interestingly, we think all the flower sizes have come out about the same. There's not much difference between these. Now, whether that's because of it's the particular variety we've chosen, we're going to try again next year. We're going to try again next year with some different varieties, because we have one planted in the bed over there that we saw earlier, which was a 9-10 centimetre bulb, which is quite a small bulb size, really. I wouldn't usually buy that sort of bulb size. And that has come out the smaller flower. So next year, we're going to try some different varieties. And you can see here, we just cut them and labelled up. Just can't really see much of a difference in flower size on this cutting. So we're just going to come to the last couple of varieties that are worth looking at. So Hemisphere, again, this is not a mixed variety or mix of varieties. This is all one variety, but it starts off with this much paler pink flecked colour, aging through to the really deep cerise red sort of colour. Salmon Prince, another one that sort of really glows in that salmony colour, really. So you can look all the tulip varieties we have online. We have them all listed there at Brighter Blooms. Oh, we've got one more spot to go to, actually, before I sign off with this. So we've just created a bit of a mix on here. And mixing tulips is a great way to get different colours and textures into things. And here we have Flare, which is the two-tone one here. And then we've got Sunny Prince. Actually, these prints range. There's a few different princes. There's a candy prince and a purple prince. One of the features with them is they never really open up any more than that. So they don't lose the strength in their heads and collapse very well. They actually hold for a long, long time. So this Sunny Prince has already been in flower about 3 weeks. So it's kind of held up really, really well. This variety is called Miranda, a short double one. Nice red double. So that's kind of the tulips on display. We aim each year to have at least 50 or 60 varieties on display. We've had about 70, I think, this year on display, just to give people a really good. And hopefully next year we can be full into the tulip open weekend. And if anybody wants to come along and have a look around, you're more than welcome. We usually do tea, coffee and cakes, which we couldn't do this year, but that adds an extra element to it. So thank you very much for watching that. I hope you enjoyed seeing the tulips, and there'll be a link to my website and bits and pieces on this video when it's finished. So you can find us that way. If you've got any questions, get onto the website. Thank you very much.